This is Consumer Friend.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Consumer Friend podcast. In today's episode, we are going to talk about the protections you have when you are buying goods, services and digital content. What to do if what you buy is faulty, not what you wanted or wasn't delivered. Basically, how to get your money back so you are not out of pocket. Whenever we mention acts, legislation, codes or any other legal documents, the majority of us, including me, tend to turn off and walk away. It can all seem so boring, but understanding just the basics of these things can help us get the best deal and make our money go further. So with me today, as ever, is little Louise Baxter.
Oh, hello, Adam. How are you today?
Do you mind me calling you little Louise Baxter?
No, because I am little. It's like factual, it's not a name.
I don't want to be considered to be littlest.
Is there such a thing as littlest?
Well, there is now. I've just said it.
My kids are littlest. When I picked them up from school today, they both pointed out to everybody that one of them was in fact taller than me and one of them was soon to be taller than me, which was nice.
So anyway, Lou, I forgot to say, hi Lou, how are you?
Oh, I'm really good. Busy today. It's been a very busy day, but productive.
Did you have a lovely weekend?
Eurovision was fun, as ever. I loved the Eurovision. It was a lot of fun. I particularly liked, I think it was Finland. I was Finland. The man in the blow up PVC lime green semi cardigan. It was the best thing I've ever seen.
I thought that song was. I thought that song was terrible, and it got second place.
But it's because he had a PVC lime green semi half cardigan on. That's why it's amazing.
So we went round to a friend's house and there was a drinking competition, and every time certain things happened on stage, like the pyrotechnics fired or there was a lot of strobe lighting or there was an individual singer that had a load of stupid dancers, everyone had to drink one finger. I was like, guys, we're 43, we're not 18 anymore. Luckily, I wasn't drinking. I was just making sure that everyone else was. You all got drunk. It was good fun, though.
It was I didn't join in, to be honest. I didn't join in the game because, as you say, 43, Adam, too old for that.
Yes, exactly right. We're far too old for that.
I wanted to do gardening the next day, which I did, and I wanted to do gardening. I planted some seeds today, so that was a good thing. So it sounds frightfully wholesome, doesn't it?
Oh, my word. Yes, it does. Well done, Louise. So proud of you.
I did it swearing, if that helps. I was swearing whilst I was planting the seed, so that's not as wholesome.
Some of us had to do work in our other job. That's what I had to do today. Do the one that pays the bills, not this, not the fun free stuff, the free podcast stuff.
Fun free stuff, no.
Anyway, right, let's move on. Getting your money back when you've bought something that you either don't want, is faulty, breaks after a certain amount of time, or the service isn't good enough. It's about this. Today's episode is going to be about getting your money back if you've paid on credit card. I think we could probably talk about if you've paid with other means afterwards. But yeah, let's concentrate on the fact that you need to pay by credit card initially. But there is something out there called the Consumer Credit Act. Stay with me, people. Stay with me. And Section 75 protects consumers against this kind of stuff. Louise, what is Section 75?
Right, okay, so if we take it back a little step, because what you're talking about is the fact that if something goes wrong, okay, so before you even get to that point, if you can and do have a credit card, I would always buy things on a credit card because then you do get these additional protections just in case. So we'll deal with what happens afterwards and what you can do, but actually it's really good advice. And I say that we're giving good advice, but it's good advice that if you can buy things on credit card, and you have a credit card, do that because you do get these extra protections. There are certain rules that come into play in relation to how much the spend has to be. And the limits, you have to spend over £100 or under 30,000 is the limit for what you have to, for the item that you're buying or the thing you're putting on your credit card. But basically, as Adam said, which I'm sure most of you are asleep now after he talked about the Consumer Credit Act and Section 75, if you buy something on a credit card and that item is faulty, doesn't turn up, or you can't get your money back or a replacement from the person that you bought it from, the company you bought it from, you can go to your credit card provider and there's something called jointly and severally liable. Right, now, when I've written the guidance for this, Adam has written a comment, what the hell does severally mean? And taking it out. So it's what the legislation says. So it means they're jointly liable for it. So they have to refund you. Good point. That's right. So let's give an example. I buy a horse. I'm buying a horse.
Oh, wow.
I'm buying a horse. All right? I'm buying a horse. The first thing that came into my head. Now
you're moving away from middle class and you're going completely in the other direction.
I'm down a rabbit warren now, Adam, and I'm not sure how I've got my bum stuck, so I'm just going to carry on with this. I'm going to wiggle my way down, okay?
Okay.
Just going to wiggle my way down.
Okay, all right, go for it.
So I'm buying a horse, and I buy a horse from a chap called Adam, right? But it's a business called Adam's Horses. So I buy a horse from a business called Adam's Horses. The horse cost me £15,000, but I pay for said horse on my credit card. When I get the horse is broken. The horse is not supposed to be broken. The horse is not as per its description. Now, I'm not going to tell you what the description is because I don't understand horses particularly. But it is not as per it was described to me by Adam's Horses. Adam does a runner. Adam is not giving me any of my money back. Adam doesn't care. Adam has essentially scammed me into buying this particular horse that is not as described and not going to run the races that it's supposed to race. So I can now go to my credit card provider and I can get my money back from them. If I can provide proof that there has been a breach of contract, so the goods that I've bought are not as described, not fit for purpose, or not of satisfactory quality, which is what we've talked about before. Basically, it doesn't do what it's supposed to do.
So Adam's Horses has refused to give you a refund, right?
Adam's Horses has refused to give me a refund. Yes. You've disappeared, in fact, Adam. Adam's Horses is just gone. There's no such thing now as Adam's Horses.
Oh, no. Adam's Horses went bankrupt. Took the 15 grand and ran away.
I ran away.
I had to run away. I didn't have any horses left.
You sold my horse didn't run. This is the problem. My made-up horse didn't run.
So it's a good idea to definitely use a credit card, even if you plan on buying it using your current account, your debit card. What you can do is you can use your credit card and then pay off your credit card using the money that you were going to use to buy it in the first place. Yeah? Sensible idea?
Yeah, it's other things as well. Like, so if you were going to, so as I said, the item that you buy has got to be more than £100 or less than 30,000. But you can also, if you don't want to pay for the whole thing on a credit card, you can put a deposit down. So as long as the item is more than £100, so dining room table, 6 chairs, you put a deposit down on 2 chairs, but the whole thing is £1,500, but each chair is £65, for example, you're still covered for the full £1,500 just by putting a deposit on your credit card.
Lovely. Perfect. It's like a great Section 75. I like this section already.
Wow, yeah, it's quite good. One thing you can't do though is I can't get my money back from my credit card provider and Adam's Horses. I can't get double whammy.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But it also applies. So not only does it apply to a credit card, but it will also apply to any what's called a point of sale loan. So if you were to go and buy something in, let's say, Currys, who offer that financing option, or you go and buy a new car, any kind of credit provided by what's called a merchant or that business that's giving you the credit, it also applies to that.
It depends on the credit agreement as well. Just be a bit aware of that because there are lots of different credit. Credit is quite complicated. There's lots of different types of credit agreements. So it's just a straight finance agreement. Yes, the credit provider is liable. But when you're looking at cars, it could be conditional sale, it could be hire purchase. These aren't as common as they were before, or a lease hire agreement. There's slightly different rules, but essentially your credit provider is also liable for any faults with it. But you just have to watch it. So cars is always a complicated one.
We are going to do a little bit about used cars at some point soon. It is in our podcast plan, isn't it, for this series? It's a quite big subject, and we're panicking about it a little bit. It's too big.
Not the panic. Like what's happened is I need to write the content for the website, and I've made it into a thing now. And it's now become a thing I don't want to do. No, it's on my list. It's on every time I make a list on a Sunday night, like what I've got to achieve this week, it goes on it, and at the top, and then I ignore it, and then because I've written it down so many times, I don't see it anymore, so it doesn't count. So I will do it because used cars is the most complained about thing, and we know that, especially at the moment with the used car market. Oh, check me out about the used car market. Because of this issue around hybrid cars, electric cars, and actually petrol cars being, there's not as many of them around anymore, and people wanting different sorts of, so the prices have gone up, haven't they? And then people are getting sold cars that aren't quite right.
Yeah. In our work in trading standards, the number one complaint is used cars, and has been every year for as long as I can remember.
Yeah. See, I started writing the information around ticketing and how to buy tickets for gigs, because that was much more fun to write. It's like picking the thing. Oh, that's nice. Oh, there's something shiny. Oh, just put that down. Just don't worry about that. Write that on your list again for next week. Basically what happened.
So I think I'm going to be using Section 75, if not this week, but very soon.
This is exciting.
Because I'm getting some very bad customer service at the moment. It all started about a year ago. My wife crashed the car.
Awkward.
Because she was laughing so hard that because she saw someone coming out of the Botox clinic, and this was someone that has been chastising Botox and that kind of stuff for the last, for God knows how long. Oh, and it was so funny that she reversed into a post. So I said to Hannah, you really have got to get that fixed. Fast forward a year, she still hasn't got it fixed. She's going, it's not important. I said, it is important. You're ruining the value of the car.
I asked why you do the voice. Upset. Like, why do you do the voice? She doesn't actually sound like that.
No, but that's what people say when they mimic their partners. They have to do that voice. Don't start me on this. This is a male-female thing, because that's exactly what Hannah would do.
I just wonder, when you're talking about me, what voice I get.
It's all very similar. Your voice is just like a million miles an hour. Yes, Louise.
Nod. Smile.
Yes, Louise, of course. So anyway, I've succumbed to actually doing it myself. So I'm now paying for the fixing of the car. So I trying to do it as cheaply as possible. I went onto a website to order the part, and I ordered the part. I spent ages figuring out which side it was. It was the right side, so I ordered the right side, and the left side turned up.
Oh dear.
I sent them an email saying, you sent me the wrong part. No response. I sent another email saying, you sent me the wrong part. No response. About a week later, I phoned them. I said, look, you've sent me the wrong part. And I got really, really bad customer service. Well, just send it back then. I don't care. Just send it back.
I think you're in the wrong job. I sent it. I think you should be like an impressionist. Is that what they're called?
I'm the new Rory Bremner.
Britain's Got Talent.
So anyway, so I took So I kind of thought I was never going to get this refund. So I took photos of everything. I took photos of the package, took photos of the return letter that I sent back to them. I packaged it up. I went down. I sent it back. Recorded delivery, it cost me £7 to send back. I was like, I don't mind losing £7 because the whole price of the thing was about 120 quid. So I sent it back. On the Thursday. On the Saturday, I went online to see if the Royal Mail parcel had been delivered. It had, and it had been signed for. So I sent them an email saying, it's being picked up. Please can you process a refund? Nothing back yet. That was Saturday. Today is Friday. Still nothing back. I sent them another email yesterday. So I'm going to phone them. Well, probably Monday now because I haven't had time today, but I'll phone them on Monday. But I reckon I'm going to be making a Section 75 claim here.
Right. So you paid for it on your credit card?
Yes.
How much did you pay for it?
I think it was 121.99 or something like that.
So it's over the £100 limit. So it's over the £100 and lower than £30,000. So you're within the
it's definitely
limits. So they delivered the wrong part to you.
Yes.
Breach of contract or misrepresentation to make a claim under Section 75. So you should get your money back from your credit card company.
But I'm going to have to go through a whole painful process now, though, aren't I? That's what I'm going to have to start.
Oh, I don't know. It's not always that painful. They normally have like a Section 75 department. Sounds like a fun place to work. But a Section 75 department, and you put your claim in there. And if you don't get a favourable response, you can then go to the Financial Ombudsman Service. Obviously, if you were to be refunded from the company within that time, you can't double claim. So you can't get like £242. Do you see that quick math? See that?
That's amazing. Yeah, you've done some amazing maths.
I know.
Quick maths. Well done.
Quick maths. So you can get it back from one or the other, but that is a straight Section 75 claim. So things that aren't delivered, or if the wrong thing's delivered, or the company's no longer in business, this is another really effective way to get your money back. And there are ways to complain if you don't get a satisfactory response from your credit card company by going to the Financial Ombudsman Service.
Perfect. I'm sure the listeners are looking forward to me updating them on the Section 75 claim that I'm going to put through.
They're waiting, ads. They are waiting. We might have to release it early on social media, just because people are just going to be waiting with bated breath over your £121 refund. There's a couple of other bits I think we just need. It's not the same if you pay on a debit card, just to make people clear. Credit cards and debit cards are different, but there is something called a chargeback system within a debit card provider space, so your bank card, and you might be able to use chargeback instead to get some or all of your money back if something's gone wrong with something you've bought. It would depend on your particular bank. Chargeback basically means, it's a term used by banks for reclaiming a card payment from their business's bank. If there's a breach of contract, but always worth a shot if you haven't paid on your credit card. But as we say, it's best if you can pay on a credit card, do pay on a credit card, especially things like holidays or like a deposit for a car or whatever you're doing, then you get the whole amount covered.
Good work, Lou. Thank you very much.
Adam, in the notes for this, because Adam always writes the notes, because if I try and write the notes, it's like literally the most chaotic podcast in the whole wide world. I always try and add some things in just to see if he notices, and he doesn't always notice. Adam wrote the best story for this podcast ever. I have laughed about it all day. So I need you to read your story that you wrote for this podcast.
Once upon a time, a guy named Tom was feeling excited about his new high-end camera. He eagerly awaited its arrival, but when it finally showed up, he quickly realised that it was not working properly. Dun, dun, dun. Tom was pretty upset and decided to ask for a refund, but he didn't want to deal with the headache of going back and forth with the company. Luckily, he paid for the camera using his credit card, which meant he was protected under Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act.
There it is, Section 75.
Tom called his credit card provider and explained the situation, hoping for a speedy resolution. However, the process ended up dragging on for weeks. Every time he called, he was met with long waits, confusing jargon, and endless hold music. Tom started to get a little fed up and decided to take matters into his own hand. He went all Karen and demanded to speak to the manager. Unfortunately for Tom, the manager wasn't much help either. The manager kept telling Tom to be patient, but Tom was running out of patience. After another week of waiting, Tom finally received a call from the credit card company telling him that his refund had been processed. Tom was so relieved that he did a little happy dance. However, when he checked his bank account, he noticed that the refund amount was way higher than what he had paid for the camera. Tom was so excited about the extra money that he called the credit card company to thank them. The representative on the other end of the line told Tom that the extra amount was a goodwill gesture to apologise for the inconvenience he had had. Tom couldn't believe it. He felt like he'd just won the lottery. From that day on, Tom was always grateful for Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act, but he still wished he could have skipped the whole Karen phase. The end.
I laughed at Karen, going on Karen all day. Like to myself.
I'm going to read that to Harry tonight.
Like to myself, I was literally like going on Karen and just having a little laugh to myself all the way. Every time I went out of the house.
I was trying to find interesting stories around Section 75.
Well, there are some. I
had to make it up in the end.
Well, one of our friends, I've helped him put in 2 Section 75 claims. One that would have been successful if he'd done the right thing, but the other one was around a holiday advert that didn't actually a screenshot from a website, but it wasn't enough proof for us to be able to put in a Section 75 claim. It was right, but we weren't able to do it. So it's really common all of the time, and it's something that people don't really know about. So it's actually something really important because there's another avenue to get your money back. And sometimes it's far easier than trying to pursue, say a company goes bankrupt or putting your name on the insolvency list in relation to being a creditor to get money, or debtor or creditor getting money back from a company that's gone bankrupt. It's just a quick way for you to get your money back and protect your money beforehand as well.
Yeah, completely agree.
Did you lose me then?
To summarise, I've lost you. My internet connection is pretty terrible, so I'm going to try and wrap it up. Thank you, Louise.
Right.
So to summarise, always a good idea to pay with credit card, even if you were planning to use your own personal money and pay with debit card, pay with credit card and then just pay off that credit card using your personal money so you don't get interest charges. If it's over £100 and under £30,000, you are covered. You should be covered by Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act. If it's a point of sale loan, i.e. it's been financed by the company or the business that you're purchasing from, then you are still covered under Section 75. Is there anything else you want to add, Louise?
Adam, that's not quite right. That point of sale thing's not quite right because it's not. What you're saying is it's the same company. It's not point of sale credit like that. That's not right. Because what you're saying is, so for example, that you're getting credit from the same company, that's only one entity. It has to be a credit provider.
Okay, but most businesses do it through a third-party credit provider. So,
you're just talking about a credit agreement, yeah.
Yeah, so when I bought my iPhone from Apple, it went through Barclays Finance, I think.
Yes,
you're
talking about a credit provider, so it's a different person, because otherwise you'd have to go to the same person, but you can get your money back for any breaches of contract. So let's just clarify that. Breach of contract means something that's not as described, that's faulty, and doesn't work quite like it said, or isn't delivered, or any misrepresentation. Misrepresentation is an old school contract term, but is covered under the Consumer Credit Act, Section 75. So if you've been essentially if there's been a misrepresentation in something that you've bought, you can also get your money back from the credit card provider then as well.
Great, thank you very much, Louise.
All right. Can I just finish one thing? Can I just ask people to look out for our very exciting Energize campaign, which is coming in the next week or so, which is focusing on trying to get people to understand how to retrofit their houses. And obviously we would say to people that they should probably make those sort of purchases on their credit cards as well if they can.
Yep, so Energize campaign coming up at the end of May.
Next week.
It's all about retrofit and energising your home, making it more cosy, reducing your bills, reducing your carbon footprint, and how to start the journey. It's going to be very exciting. Looking forward to it. As ever, Consumer Friend is online at www.consumerfriend.org.uk. Follow us on socials, like, subscribe, share this podcast. We are here. Get in touch. We've got an Ask the Team pod coming up in a couple of weeks, well, maybe 4 weeks, depending. So please get in touch on our website, or you can email us at info@consumerfriend.org.uk. Louise, thank you very much for today.
Oh, I've enjoyed it, actually. It was quite succinct, because it's quite a succinct subject.
Thank you, and bye-bye.
Bye.
This is Consumer Friend.